I'm trapped in idle hell, and it's rather nice, actually. Think I'll stick around. I might use a number, and today, we're looking at Love Live. Love Live is one of those multimedia production things, and maybe at some point I'll talk about other aspects of the franchise, but this video is going to be focusing specifically on the anime series. So, Honoka Kosaka is a second year at, I'm probably going to butcher this, Otonokizaka Academy, somewhere in Tokyo. Honoka, along with her friends Umi and Kotori, soon find out that their school is closing down after the current students all graduate due to a low enrollment rate, and Honoka is devastated and desperate to find a way to save her school. At home, her sister Yukio, clearly the queen of games, has decided that she wants to go to a different school, one UTX, and Honoka decides to go and investigate the competition. Once there, she learns of an incredibly popular school idol group called Arise that apparently attracts new students to UTX, and after seeing one of their performances on a huge monitor, decides that starting a school idol group of her own is the way to drum up new applicants and save her own school. At first, she can only convince a skeptical Umi and a less skeptical Kotori to go along with her, but the opening sort of shows that we're gonna wind up with 9 members by the end, so, you know. They together set their sights on competing in a national, well, competition between school idols called the Love Live. I love this show so much, and it has entirely to do with the cast of characters and their journey together. While the story begins with the goal of saving the school, it very quickly becomes a character-focused drama, where we learn everything about these 9 girls and see them struggle and grow together, and I care so much about all of them. Everything about the presentation of this show is very over the top, and it works really well. This over-exaggeration that can be felt in the background, music, animation, and amazing performances by voice actresses sells what the characters are feeling and pulls you into it, if you let it. And of course, there are also fun, silly parts to break up all the drama and make you care about the characters even more. It also helps that they all have very distinct yet simple designs. They stand out, but they're not stupid over the top, and they are really, really cute. The supporting cast is made up of fun and cool characters too. The characters felt real to me, and everything the show goes for hit me in the way it was supposed to. The parts that were supposed to be funny made me laugh, and I cried more times than I can remember. This is one of those special shows where I cared even more while rewatching it, because I already had an attachment to the characters. Everything that happened affected me on an even deeper level, especially the stuff that happens early on before I had that connection on my initial viewing. Well, I've seen it like 3 or 4 times now, but you get the idea. Of course, I can't talk about an idol anime without talking about the performances themselves. I like them, but it does that thing that most idol anime do, where the dancing uses a lot of 3D animation. I actually like the models in 3D animation, but there are occasional moments where the transition between the two art styles is pretty jarring. This becomes less and less true in the second season movie and sequel series as the animation for these sequences improves. I'd also like to point out that almost every outfit they wear for every performance is stunning. Good work, Kotori. Sometimes, just to get another performance in there, the show operates on musical logic. This is most evident in the very first episode where Honoka, Umi, and Kotori sing, then in the very next episode go back to struggling to get all the aspects of their upcoming performance together, including singing and dancing. I think this is fine and kind of fun. It's just an excuse to have a song when it doesn't quite fit in the plot, and all of the important performances are clearly prepared for by our characters, so I don't really see a downside to it. The songs themselves, phenomenal. All of them. I love pretty much all of them, at least. It's J-pop. If you hate J-pop, I can't imagine this will change your mind. This show is what created my J-pop addiction, and I always find myself coming back to listen to more songs, not just the ones from the show, but everything related to the franchise. For me, this also holds true for Symphogear, Persona, and Metal Gear Rising, so take from that what you will. The lyrics also very often have to do with what's going on at that point in the show, which of course is always nice, and sometimes emotionally devastating, you know, depending. Also, this show is like pretty gay. There aren't necessarily any explicitly canon Yuri pairings unless you look up and count Zurio Magnetic Today and Gorasu no Hanazono, which you should, but I like to think that I know the difference between me just liking to ship characters and the show pushing certain relationships as romantic. And this show pushes a lot. And it is glorious. It's worth noting that the manga was the very first story-based thing to come out for this franchise, and they chose Sakurako Kamino to write that. She also wrote Strawberry Panic, and considering that was the very first time we saw these characters doing more than just singing and dancing, I don't think it's a stretch to assume that those Yuri undertones are wholly intentional. And I'm even more sure of that now that a sequel series is underway, but that's a video for another time. Quick side note, I advise watching this show in Japanese, so the voice actresses are the ones singing. From what I saw of the dub, the voice actresses are great there too, but when they cut to singing, it's in Japanese, and it's just a little bit weird, so it gives the Japanese version a bit of an edge. Love Live has 26 episodes and an OVA that takes place roughly after episode 13. It's kind of odd and not that important to the plot, so you can skip it, but it's an alright time. And there's a movie that takes place after the series. I have mixed feelings on the movie, and I intend to do another video on that at some point. Not entirely sure when, but for now, I'll just say that in many ways, I consider the ending of this series to be perfect, and the movie rehashes some things in less compelling ways and has a couple of other problems. Not gonna go into detail here, that's what the other video will be for. I was hooked on this show by the end of episode 3, but it's worth pointing out that the group doesn't even get fully formed until over halfway through the first season. And I'm glad they took their time in that respect. Lots of emotions caught up in that whole process, but if you really want to see the full breadth of what this show will throw at you, you'd have to watch all 13 episodes of the first season. This part's weird for me because I like this show so much. Like, do you ever have those shows where you can just suddenly randomly think of a part and you get all emotional? Because that's what happens to me with this show sometimes. I don't even know what I'm getting at right now. Honestly, just watch this show. It's so good. 9 lesbian idols chase their dreams and grow as people. What's not to love? That said, this has been I Won't Use a Number. If you like this video, you can subscribe and maybe share it with your friends. If you're willing and able, please consider supporting me through Patreon. Keep loving what you love, and I'll see you next time with something else.